If you're planning to study MBBS in abroad, one of the biggest questions that parents and students ask is, will I get a real hospital exposure during MBBS? Because let's be honest, clinical training is what actually makes you a good doctor. And today, in this video, we are going to talk about clinical training system and hospital exposure available at Orenburg State Medical University. We will discuss when clinical training starts, how students interact with real patients, what kind of hospital students train in, and how this training helps students prepare for licensing exams. So make sure that you watch this video till the end because the last point is extremely important for every MBBS aspirant who is planning to study MBBS in Russia. Why clinical training is important? Before we talk specifically about Orenburg State Medical University, let's understand something important. Medical education is not just about theory. Reading textbooks is important, but becoming a doctor requires practical experience. Students must learn how to communicate with patients, how to observe symptoms, how doctors diagnose diseases, and how treatments are planned. This is why clinical training at hospitals becomes one of the most important parts of MBBS education. And this is where universities like Orenburg State Medical University focus heavily. When does clinical training begin? At Orenburg State Medical University, MBBS program is designed in such a way that students gradually move from theoretical learning to clinical practice. In the initial years, students focuses on subjects like anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. These subjects build the medical foundation required to understand human health and diseases. But as students progress in their MBBS journey, they begin clinical exposure in hospital under the supervision of experienced doctors and professors. This transition from classroom learning to hospital practice helps students understand how theoretical knowledge is applied in real medical situations. Affiliated hospitals for training. One of the biggest advantages of studying at Orenburg State Medical University is its network of medical centers and affiliated hospitals. Students are trained in well-equipped government hospitals where they get the opportunity to observe and learn from real medical cases. In these hospitals, students can observe patient diagnosis, learn about different treatment procedures, understand hospital workflows, watch experienced doctors perform clinical examination. This kind of hands-on observation helps students understand the practical side of medicine. And this exposure plays a very important role in shaping students into a confident medical professional. During clinical rotations at the university, students gradually learn how to interact with the real patients. Under the supervision of experienced doctors, students learn how to take patient history, how to observe symptoms, and how to conduct basic examinations. This process helps students develop diagnostic skills and clinical thinking. Instead of studying diseases in textbooks, students begin to see real medical conditions and understand how doctors treat them. And this is where students begin to feel like future doctors. But there is another important aspect of medical education which many students overlook: learning from experienced medical faculty. Another major strength of Orenburg State Medical University is its experienced medical faculty and clinical mentors. During hospital training, students are guided by senior professors, practicing doctors, and medical specialists. These professionals share their real-life medical experiences, which helps students understand practical medical situations. Students also get the opportunity to ask questions, discuss clinical cases, and learn diagnostics approaches. This interaction between students and doctors plays a very important role in building confidence and clinical knowledge. One of the biggest goals for many Indian students studying MBBS abroad is to clear foreign medical graduate examination after completing MBBS. Clinical training at Orenburg State Medical University helps students develop practical understanding required for medical practice. By observing real patients and medical procedures, students strengthen their clinical concepts, which is extremely important for licensing exams. In fact, Many students believe that strong clinical exposure makes it easier to understand complex medical topics. And this practical knowledge becomes helpful not only during exams but in real medical practice. No matter which university you study in, one thing remains true. A medical university can provide hospitals, clinical training, and experienced professors. But the success of a medical student ultimately depends on students' dedication and discipline. Students who actively participate in clinical training, ask questions, and take their studies seriously usually develop strong medical knowledge. So, if you plan to study MBBS abroad, remember this. Your learning depends on how much you are willing to learn, and this is the most important lesson for every future doctor. If you are planning to study MBBS in Russia in 2026 and want to learn more about admission process, fee structure, hostel facilities, and university details, then leave a comment below.